What did you find out about your friend's sex life that actually shocked you? Always bragged about how much sex he had, would never shut the hell up about it, one of those guys. Super annoying, plus this dude was not smooth with girls in any way whatsoever. Would always just nod and play along, always thought he was full of shit. Then I found out he raped every single one of them. That took a turn. My best friend in high school came out of the closet to me. That wasn't really that shocking. What was shocking was finding out the jokes he made about my other best friend blowing him weren't actually jokes. My best friend uses blowjobs as bribery to an insane degree. I mean, I'm not above a little BJ bribery myself, but she uses it on her husband like several times a day. Wants coffee, but doesn't want to make it. BJ doesn't want to clean the dishes. BJ, it's her turn to walk the dogs. BJ, it's kind of hilarious, she's super lazy, but prefers giving him head to doing most chores, and apparently it works for him too. She also doesn't want sex as often as he does, so she finds this keeps him happy and she doesn't feel the need to put out as much. All of which I find hilarious. Does she know how much easier it is to just make coffee instead of giving a blowjob? On the bright side, she must have that shit down to a quick science by now. In spite of his wife being comfortable with having an open relationship, he proceeded to cheat on her multiple times before we all found out. Edit, should clarify he refused to have an open relationship. People who cheat on their SOs are often very jealous and paranoid of their SO cheating on them. It's pretty hypocritical obviously, but some people are just shitty. A woman I dated previously moved back home upon finishing grad school. She lives on some sort of free love commune estate. She has 10 husbands. Man, I don't have the time for 10 friends, let alone 10 husbands. That a friend has been married for 15 years and they've never actually had sex. Not one time. They've tried but not been successful. From the info I've gotten, I think he's not hard enough. He won't see a doctor. They're both virgins. It's all so sad. Does he eat a raw potato when he's in the mood perchance? He was into swords and getting cut and stuff. It all started on the day of his circumcision. One friend was all into gangbangs and orgies. Never took her as the type. Where the hell are all these gangbangs and orgies happening? Is there a subreddit I'd come out? In high school, a classmate of mine was bragging one day about losing his virginity to a lady in our community who happened to be the mother to a girl a grade above us. We all called bullshit and asked why he'd make something like that up, cause not only is it not believable, it just wasn't even a funny lie. Fast forward 6 months and fellow classmate asked her to leave class on multiple occasions to go to court. Older lady was bragging to a coworker about sleeping with said classmate, and now older lady is a sex offender. I fucked your mom might be funny, but I fucked your kid is just downright illegal in it. My sister-in-law told me what she apparently calls my brother in their, private time. Bitaddy roo-roo. Is your brother Scooby-Doo? Friend wouldn't let me use his computer 20 years ago. He said he had things on there that would change how I thought about him. I stowed the thought aside. 12 years or so later, married with a young daughter, they threw his ass in prison for having some insanely large amount of child porn on his computer. He was part of some huge child porn ring. Evidently really young girls. I used to frequent Craigslist back before they banned anything even resembling a dating or hookup ad. I once placed an ad and got a response from a guy on my team at work asking if I wanted to fuck his wife. As in bluntly asking, hey buddy, you wanna fuck my wife? Your email address is stripped off when using their built-in email system, but the name on your email account comes through. The response was in this guy's name, which is unique, and he included a picture of his wife who I have met. The pic didn't show her face, but she has some visible tattoos, so there is zero doubt it was her. So how was she? She used to shit in her ex-husband. Kinda took me by surprise. In? Or on? A couple that I was friends with was into necrophilia play. He would make his wife take a nice cold shower, quickly dry off, and then she'd just lay there while he fucked her cold unmoving body. And they really liked it. With these kind of stories I always wonder how into it the partner really is, or if they just decided they loved the other person enough to go eat it and are now pretending to enjoy the same thing. One of my former best friends and his fiancée had been together for nearly 5 years and due to be married in a few months when this happened. They were very open about their sex life, saying it was awesome and that they had their fun nearly every night. A few months before the wedding she confided in me that they had actually never had sex before because he was scared. Apparently he had her act like they were having daily sex to make it seem like everything was normal. First couple years they tried and didn't get anywhere with sex. After that he just lost interest in her. Apparently the mental abuse in the relationship was pretty high too, which she completely hid from everyone to save his ass. This story is why this best friend is now a former best friend. That they eat ass despite being a germaphobe. Ding. I have a galpal who is mega OCD, hyper clean and otherworldly germaphobic, and she is way into some balloon not bingo. In the battle of kink v bacteria, kink is the victor. Always. That they didn't have a sex life. We are all in our late 20s and they got married last year. Around 2 months after the wedding I was joking about the lingerie set I bought her on her bachelorette trip and asked if she had worn it after the honeymoon. She looked at me straight and said no. I thought we were having a light-hearted conversation, friends for 9 years, like we have always had, and was taken by surprise. She followed up with, I'm married now so I closed shop. He can have sex when I try for a baby, but once I have a kid it's over. They just had their first child this month. It's going to be a long 50 years for her husband. That she had elaborate pirate role-play sex. We were housemates in college and I heard way more than I bargained for. Also the guy she had elaborate pirate role-play sex with smelled bad and wore those shoes with the separate toes. And GT, and wore those shoes with the separate toes. That his GF doesn't enjoy having sex with him, my best mate, unless she is really drunk. Never brought it up but the implication is a bit rough. Edit, I don't mean this in any kind of rape way, it's all consensual and they are a happy couple. My wife had a female friend in high school that saved all the used condoms in a brown paper bag under her bed. And from what I heard, there were a lot of them. Can't that shit mold or go rotten? Ew. My sister's involvement. Wait until you find about your mom's. My friend was US Army / Special Forces / Green Beret and would go on regular shadow fucking dates. He would find people online, mostly on Craigslist, this was in the 2012, and set up random anonymous sex liaisons with people he had never met, spoken with or had even seen. He would show up to an unlocked apartment or house, fuck in the dark without ever seeing or speaking and bail. One day we were playing Xbox, he got an email, said don't unpause it, I gotta go fuck real quick. He left, did the deed and brought a 6-pack back all within an hour, sat down and kept playing. This happened a few different times and I think about it often. My friend only do anal because she's saving her virginity for her husband. She has about 5 BF up to this point. People who have been fucked in the ass are not virgins. Change my mind. I knew this guy, lived with a friend of mine. Then one day I saw him on the local news's version of To Catch a Predator. I think he got some time and might have been deported after that. That was quite a surprise. My best friend never masturbated until I told him the experiences of the luxury, then he actually did it and he questioned his life. I mean that's pretty mind-blowing if you've never done it. A friend of mine thinks of me while having sex so they can keep going for much longer. How does that make you feel? Weird, flattered, indifferent? A former friend of mine used to wipe her husband's butt after he'd been to the bathroom. Initially she'd do his washing and he'd leave stains on his underwear. For her? I'm not sure, and that progressed to some humiliation and her checking him when he got home from work every day. She told me this when we were outside having a cigarette and I then had to sit across from them both for the longest game of Monopoly. 2 of my friends used to date and, due to martinis and cider, I now know exactly how big he is and how long she can hold her breath. A great adventure is waiting for you ahead. Hurry onward, Lemmerwinks. My so's boss's husband would call up various guys, sometimes police officer friends, etc. to fuck his wife at her work while she left the phone on speaker so he could hear. That's all he wanted, was to hear her moans, I guess. It was interesting realizing this otherwise seemingly normal husband and wife with children had this phone cuckold fetish, well, the husband at least. Well, I just found out my girlfriend's a lesbian, so that's kinda fucking with me. Edit, thank you all for the support, and the laughs. It sucks. We've been together for a long time. Built a bit of a life together. Been through thick and thin. She claims it's just a mistake, but she's emotionally and physically involved with another woman, and has been cheating on me as well as financially supporting the home wrecker with money we discussed saving for a wedding. I hope she finds what she's looking for, because it's not gonna be with me anymore. I've given all that I could. One friend had sex with another friend. Because of her, people started calling him Anaconda Dick. Because his dick's CGI has aged surprisingly well and it once regurgitated John Voight. Lived together with my friend and he got a new GF, still together. He's apparently very loud vocally and normally he's reserved and quiet. My best friend in college got in a pretty kinky sexual relationship with this dude for a while. They do BDSM type stuff, none of which is particularly shocking to me, but I remember visiting her apartment and seeing a spoon out randomly in her room and asked why it was there. She said she loved the taste of his cum so much he'd jerk off onto the spoon and feed it to her while she was tied up. I didn't think she'd ever really shock me, but that one took the cake. Wait until they find out you can come directly into a person's mouth. Doing it onto a spoon seems inconvenient. Edit, guys, it was a joke. I know they're most likely aware of the ability to put a penis into a mouth. He slept with a clown. You want to see a magic trick? I can make this penis disappear. Friend of mine didn't do foreplay at all and just threw it in there. Started having issues because his girlfriend didn't enjoy it and said it was painful, but he was baffled as to why. Poor girl. He posts himself and his girlfriend to Pornhub and Reddit. Are they popular? Like, if someone said the channel, would people be like, oh damn. My roommate broke his bed one day after coming home with his girlfriend. Pretty ordinary so far. That happens, although already quite funny. And I remembered that I helped him build his bed up when we moved in. Dude's bed has 2 slatted frames. How the hell did they break that? Tell him to stop using chainsaws during sex, obviously. My girlfriend in HS was friends with this girl who was super quiet, and pretty nerdy. Totally innocent in every sense of the word. When she was like 12 or so, her mom got remarried to this dude who had a son around her age. Well, at around 16 or so, my HS girlfriend finally got stoned, drunk with me one night and told me that this girl didn't want to lose her virginity, so her and her stepbrother had been doing anal regularly for months. All I remember was being like, the fuck? And then going home and masturbating furiously to the idea of it. You did the right thing. Well, I found out he likes hosting gangbangs. He invited me to one, too. Update, I went. I mustn't talk about it. From what I hear, gangbangs are a bunch of dudes beside each other jerking off, except you get to slide in for 2 seconds. After several years I found out that one of my female friends wore a strap-on and fucked her husband up the butt almost every time they had sex. I don't remember how the topic even came up, but apparently that was just how he liked it and she was happy to oblige. He said that when he was 20 he did try it with another man but didn't really find any enjoyment in it because he likes playing with tits while getting plowed, so he only likes it when it's coming from a woman wearing a strap-on. Commonly referred to as pegging. Does not equal homosexuality though. Might just means he likes to be dominated from time to time. I have been with chicks that are into it. Was hanging out with my boyfriend and our friends, who are also a couple. We were having breakfast smoothies. They casually mention that they're going to an orgy in Brooklyn on Saturday and it's a really progressive orgy because all men need to be invited by a woman. Edit, I just wanna say that you guys are losing it over the word progressive since apparently that's how all orgies are. This was like 6 months ago. I'm not quoting her adjective for adjective, that was just my takeaway about that rule she described to us. I've never been to a sex club, alright. GT, it's a really progressive orgy because all men need to be invited by a woman. I'm surprised it's labeled progressive. It seems that the main problem with orgies is that there are way more men than women who want to go to one, so it makes sense that there would be some sort of system to make the gender ratios come out somewhat evenly.